If I was starting again in 2026, this is how I would invest in crypto. I wouldn't be looking for the meme coin to the 100x altcoins. I think those days are long gone, but I will be building a solid foundation using Bitcoin, automation, keeping a lot of my money ready for potential lows, which we'll get onto in a minute. I've been in crypto since 2016. I've seen many boom and bust cycles, some crazy cycles with altcoins and obviously with Bitcoin. Making money during the hype in any cycle is genuinely possible if you look at the right things. But people, I think, lack patience. They fail to keep all their money and they tend to just blow it on something that's already maybe moved a bit too much or aggressively. I think the foundation layer is Bitcoin. You have to have something to kind of hold the weight of the majority of the market. I know some people will disagree. Let me know in the comments what you think. And while you're down there, make sure you like the video and comment and subscribe. Sorry, there you go. Get my words out. But you get the point here. For me, 70 to 80% of your portfolio should realistically be something more steady. Certainly when you think of it in terms of wealth. Yes, some people may not like Bitcoin for certain factors, but it holds the price the best versus, say, an altcoin, as we all know. Then you've got another 30% where you can look at potential maximum extraction of altcoins, which should outperform Bitcoin. Doesn't always, though, when you look at it in that sense, but it tends to do it in certain points, which is where we're going to reverse into later on when we talk about opportunity and hopefully profit taking. Now with me, if you know this is my website. I am totally rebuilding this from the ground up, by the way. This is just like an older version of it. But this is my DCA challenge. I started it quite late. You can see the average buy price is pretty crap. But overall, long term, I'm not that fussed about it. It might be absolutely fine. That is me just putting 60 quid in every single Sunday without fail. Automate it, DCA with something every single time. Just let it do its thing. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, you may have something to buy when it goes even lower, which we will come on to in a minute. Because even £50 to £100 every single week, whatever it may be, continuous belt feeding at the right times with maybe holding off at the peaks, you're going to be building a nice little base layer. And if you are a big believer in Bitcoin and the narrative against the world of inflation, money printing, and all that kind of stuff, you should realistically be doing this anyways, regardless of what your opinion is. Always keep a separate pot for stable currencies to buy at the lows, and always look to take profit in the hype cycles. Even though this is a long-term hold, it is very cyclical. You will still see 30, 40, 50, even higher percentage drops and drawdown in certain points. So just bear that in mind. But when we do talk about the likes of the chart here, and we're talking about tops and bottoms, right? For me, they're where I'm looking. I'm not looking at the previous all-time high. I'm looking in this zone, and I'm going to be going and selling the dogs at this zone, for example, right? But ultimately, we don't know where the money's going to go and where it's going to flow into and all that kind of stuff. It's hugely important. This is why I say DCA. Just gradually just add little bits of your salary every single time. There's no harm in that at all. And then when it goes lower, add some stable currencies. As it declines, as it gets deeper into that decline, add a bit more. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, altcoins. Probably pretty selective, I'll be honest with you, but optional. Most of the time it is Bitcoin season. It has been for a very, very long time. There's obviously going to be regulation elements as well around this. There's certain tokens that are technically regulated and probably will get an ETF and more than likely get a bit of a sunlight with those institutional investors. For me, I don't really have the best opinion on altcoins these days because I think they're pretty much beaten up by emissions and stuff. But let's look at it. Let's look at it in simple terms, right? Because when we talk about, say, the whole cryptocurrency market capitalization, the market capitalization of a lot of assets are going to rise because, inflation. Always look realistically at the liquidity. Always look, have they survived? Look to see if they've got an enormous kind of token unlock system, which most altcoins do, and genuine network usage. Now, BNB, for example, by Binance, yeah, that might be the most obvious option. In the lows, it might do well in the bull market again because of X, Y, Z. Basically, people using the bloody thing. But you've also got to look at the strength versus, say, Bitcoin. Now, this is the biggest thing. When we go on to the, say, you trading trading view, sorry, we're looking at these BTC pairs. Binance does in more often than not periods in bull markets outperform Bitcoin and actually do pretty well in these little random runs here. Not amazing though, because I think a lot of it is kind of governed by the network of stable currencies that don't tend to buy via the BTC network anymore. Ethereum, not so much, as you can see. Chainlink, it's not done anything for a while. So those are trading opportunities that may not be great for long-term holds, but you got to look at the obvious. Some of these will look like shite, which is why I say to people, with altcoins, you need to have a clear exit plan. Bitcoin, you will have to have an exit plan at some point, but more importantly, with altcoins, you can't just be in them forever. I mean, Ethereum, for example, very much cyclical, big drop, bit of a rise, big massive drops, a rise, a big huge. You get the point here. You can't just buy it because if you held this for over 5 years, you'd be pretty much at break even right now. That's the problem. So yeah, if an altcoin say doubles, consider selling some of that position, for example, right? Scale random amounts out at major obvious targets, which may for some people feel like, oh, that's a bit bollocks, but sometimes they hit these psychological levels and they just nuke. Look at Ethereum when it hit its previous all-time high. People were talking about $8,000 or $10,000 in the last cycle. It didn't happen. Move your profits into Bitcoin maybe, or into cash, or more importantly, into stable currencies for a future bear market. But the days, I think, of rolling profit into another altcoin is probably a bit more dicey now because they tend to kind of all go up at the same time and all go down at the same time. So there's less of those narrative kind of pushes, which is kind of unfortunate. By the way, if you're looking for an exchange with no KYC or requirements, jump in Blowfin. There's a link below. You get 20% back on fees as well, provided by me. So you will get some cash flow if you are spending loads of money buying stuff. So yeah, if I was starting again, that's what I would do. It's boring, I know. But Bitcoin foundation layer, selective with the altcoins at the lows, spare cash, buy low, sell high, build wealth. The growth cargo of Bitcoin is still pretty impressive considering. And in those little cyclical moves, might be really, really beneficial. Altcoins will have to be opportunities though, not the blind, I'm going to buy and hold for 10 years, because I don't think that's a thing yet.